Hey guys. So I want to talk a little bit more about search terms, like how to actually take your research questions and do the Google searching to find some good sources that you can use. When I do research, I kind of do an overview and gather some sources that I think might be good, and then I dig into those sources a little bit more. And research is a very fluid process, so there's no reason that you can't go back and ask more questions and find more evidence as you go, depending on what you end up needing. So that's why I kind of just like to look for a big overview, kind of look for some good stuff to start with. So you can tell if you look at my doc, I've already added a few things because I went in to see kind of how that worked. So I have another section here, if you look right there. It says other search terms. So we can type our actual research questions into Google, and sometimes that will get us good results, but it can also be really helpful to use some shorter search terms, like to use some keywords from our questions. So if I go to Google and I ask, what is the effect of the internet on, like you can look, there's a whole bunch of like education. Ooh, that's interesting. I said learning was my question, but I'm kind of interesting what will show up if I do this. So this one I already saved, but it's from NYU. It looks like it's a student written piece, but a college student at NYU. It seems to have some links, which seems pretty good. So I went ahead, and what I do is I just copy and paste what's up here. You can copy it by clicking that. And I go to my doc and I just paste it in there. Obviously it's right up here, so I'm gonna get rid of that for now because I don't need it twice. But then I have all my sources readily available to me. These aren't I'm not necessarily going to use all these sources. They might not all be helpful to me, but I kind of just want to get some different options to start reading more in depth. So if we go back here, we can look and see if there's anything else. Ooh, Pew Research, that seems good. It's 2015, which is a little old. Ooh, it's got some interesting stuff here. It's got some good charts, so that looks really interesting. Pew Research seems like something interesting to explore. So I'll just stick that there. So like you can see, you can put a big question in and that'll work. You can also do some like keywords. So earlier I put the internet and learning, and I found this, which is sort of a strange document, but seems like it could be good. So I went ahead and saved it. And I didn't find much more. So sometimes you want to think about like, okay, if I'm thinking about learning, what helps people learn? So I want to think of some other words I can use because maybe there's a different way people have been writing about this topic. And when I think about learning, I think about the brain. So I'm thinking like, okay, what about the internet and the brain? So we've got Science Daily, which seems like not a super reliable source. I don't want to start there. academicearth.org doesn't seem great. This one looks like, can I have a PDF? Yes. Okay, so I already saved this one, but this is a nice scholarly article. It is going to be dense and more difficult to read than some of the others, but it is like a scientific study. So that's going to be really awesome information from some really good sources. And it looks like it might be 2019. So that's pretty recent too. I'll have to look a little more closely as I start actually researching. Yeah, June 2019 or May 2019. Yeah, that's pretty good. So That seems interesting. I'm interested in that. Scientific American. I might read that. I don't know that it's the most reliable source ever, but it looks interesting. Let me see. Do they have stuff linked? They have someone from The Atlantic, the Los Angeles Times. I'm just scanning right now for who they're citing, like who their sources are. Are their sources, like, reliable? Are they poppy? Like, what are they? It seems like we've got some decent sources. We don't have any links, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to go ahead and copy it because it seems like it could be interesting. I can always decide not to use it later. Nothing about putting it on this doc says that I have to use this. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting a bunch that seem like they might be of interest. I'm going to try to avoid things that say really bold titles like, "Is the internet killing our brains?" Because that feels very dramatic and like it's going to be a bit biased. I clicked to the third page, but The Shallows, This Is Your Brain Online. So this is 10 years old, but I've actually read the book The Shallows. So I'm going to link this, not because I actually want it, but because I want to remind myself to get that book out and see if there's anything that's still relevant in there, because I think I have it somewhere. So I'm going to look for that book. And I would just keep doing this for a while. And if I stopped seeing stuff that looked good for the internet and the brain, I would try something else. So you can see we can kind of get some information. One thing that might be a good idea is to go ahead and do this. Sorry, guys. Go ahead and like kind of sort them out. You might want to color code somehow with like what questions they answer, or you might just want to read a little bit. 6 sources for this one question is kind of a lot. That's why I said like I might decide only one of these questions is something I really need to answer as I keep going, because I'm not going to want to be researching for all eternity. I want to have time to write and actually read through my research, read through my sources that I've kind of compiled to see if there's actual good evidence there, and I might need to go back and find some more evidence. Okay, guys, so today what I need you to do, it's all listed on Canvas. You should have watched the video about the research questions already, so make sure you have created your Google Doc and shared it with me, and that you've written your research questions in there. That's what I'm going to be looking for today, is that I have your Google Doc, it's shared with me, and it has some research questions in it. Then start doing some research. Make sure you record the sources that you think you might want to explore more. Make sure you copy paste them, jot them down, do something. Otherwise, you will lose sight of them. It is super, super easy to lose sight of sources if you don't put them somewhere. That's why I'm putting direct links on my chart right here, on my paper right here. Okay. If you look down under homework, there is also a daily challenge. It's just something fun if you want to participate. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you need from me. Have a lovely day, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, guys.